Hi there, this is Felipe Osorio, and welcome to Second Earth Alternative. So this isn't a real episode, it's more like an update. If you're looking and observing, well, first of all, I want to say happy Labor Day, but not for those who are living in the Atlantic coast. And look, I just want to say that the destruction that happened in the Bahamas, the minister was saying it was unprecedented. Not just the Bahamas, but the Abaco Island. And, we're talking about like 20 feet surges of water that basically inundated all the islands. And look, hurricanes average somewhere between 10 to 30 miles per hour. This one stopped at a 1 mile per hour, going 185 miles per hour with gusts at 220 miles per hour. And, these are tornado forces. So you gotta imagine a tornado that just kind of stays there the whole time in a very tiny little island where much of the infrastructure is built upon wood. Things are not supposed to survive 220 miles per hour wind, for a prolonged amount of time, let alone any amount of time. So I guess some of the early reports is that there has been bodies that have been surfacing in the water. It's really a tragic incident. And look, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not exactly a news person, though I do like to report on certain aspects of the news. The reason why I want to report on this is, guys, look, I rent an apartment in LA, but my family's home, lies right over here. There it is, Stuart. So, look, if you see this blue line, that is literally the edge of uncertainty, the cone of uncertainty for this hurricane. So, there is a very small probability that the hurricane could go west and essentially strike this area and would essentially destroy a lot of the infrastructure around the area. And my parents' house, I literally saw the street that my parents live in, I saw it on a news forecast talking about when the hurricane's going to hit Jupiter. I was like, oh, that's where my parents live. So this is not looking good. But if this brushes by compared to Bahamas, it's going to be devastating, but it's not going to be like loss of life to the scale that it happened in those little islands. So I don't want to take anything away from that. So here are the radar images. Now what I found is kind of cool with this app is you can check out all kinds of different weather data. So I'm going to go from satellite to radar just to take a look. And if you're to track the storm, what ended up happening is once it got into the Bahamas, it kind of started expanding and it lost a little bit of pressure and they started moving a little bit more north. And that's something that the meteorologists were anticipating, but wasn't happening until very recently. Here's the latest projection of the hurricane, and it actually moved west since then. And that's concerning me because, let's see if we can click on this real quick. So it says west northwest a direction, and with wind speeds of 150 miles per hour, I think they're expecting that that's going to be somewhat sustained throughout its journey across Florida. So the question is, how far west is it going to go in this cone of uncertainty, and will it hit the coastal area of America, starting with Florida? So though Florida is in danger of catastrophic hurricane type forces, we also have to be concerned about the Carolinas because they are in particular danger of major flooding. I'm going to change perspectives because you guys never really get this perspective. So this is my wife's little garden. We actually created almost like a little greenhouse effect. We got all kinds of little tomatoes growing here. And I guess I'm talking about this right now. Gotta get the microphone, of course. So I guess I want to talk about this garden a little bit because, hurricanes are not the only natural disasters that can happen. We're talking about Mother Nature, just the nature, the power of Mother Nature is so incredible that it's always good to be not just prepared, but learn how to harvest the land that you live in. Learn how to make food, essentially, if you have to. We even got a little compost over here. So basically, any scraps that we have, like vegetables, eggs, shells, coffee, whatever, we just put it in there, and it essentially gets recycled into our plants. And look at all these tomatoes. And I'm showcasing this because look, hurricanes are a horrible thing, but let's say the sun goes off, and our delicate infrastructure, electric infrastructure, is just suddenly let's say there's no electricity anymore. Well, what are you gonna do? You can't go and go to the grocery stores because there's gonna be no way to deliver the produce. So you're gonna have to learn how to harvest food. And it just I guess that's why I want to talk about it. And it kind of something else I kind of wanted to quickly mention. It kind of concerns me a little bit is that if you let's see if I can stabilize this camera so I can show you what I'm talking about here. Now check this out. Now I don't know if you're aware, but this isn't the only hurricane that's forming, or at least kind of cell type formation that could lead to a tropical storm or a hurricane. If you look around, we got formations happening in the West Coast. You got perhaps even more cells happening exactly where the hurricane started. And this is, look, if you backtrack hurricane, look, just in the last 48 hours, you see where it started, and it formed somewhere around here, not too far from north of Brazil, and kind of around this area where you're seeing more cell formations. And this is just the beginning of their hurricane season, so the probability is there are going to be a lot more hurricanes. And it makes me wonder, is the Atlantic coast of America becoming harsher to live? Are some parts that are under sea level becoming essentially unlivable? I mean, you look at some of the islands in the Bahamas. How long can these little islands take these kind of infrastructure hits? Are there going to be more migration due to these catastrophic natural forces? Now, don't get me started with climate change because this is such a complicated topic. These hurricanes are probably definitely aggravated by warmer waters, but I'll just leave it at that. So thank you so much for listening to this update, and let's just all wish for the best, and let's hope that this storm tracks north as opposed to west. This is Felipe Osorio, signing out.